Hey, I thought I'd go through one of my favorite songs from Crosby, Stills and Nash off their CSN album, along with them on the sitting on the ship. Song that got a lot of radio play. It's a short song. Starts off with a great solo by Stills, and it's got some nice simple chord work and some nice harmonizing. Then back to another very short but great solo, and then it wraps up. Go through the chords first, not very hard, some room for interpretation, things you can do to play around with a little bit, and then we'll look at the leads and break it down a little bit and try to give you a sense of what's going on. I think the key for this song is capo it at the second fret. I'm going to speak of the chords as if there weren't the capo, so even though it's capoed at the second, and using the E minor shape would really make it an F sharp minor, I'm just going to speak out of it as if it's an E minor and really talk about all of this as if the capo really were just the nut. I think that'll just make it easier, and lots of people find it easier to talk that way. Just pretend that the capo is the nut, and then when we talk about what scale we're using, we'll just again pretend that that's the end and not worry about the fact of what actual notes we're playing and what actual keys we're in. But we're going to think of this song as built around the E minor that starts, and then the lead that we're going to do is going to be built around an E minor pentatonic. Again, just considering that it's capoed at the second. So just a simple scale. Something that might help you when you think about how to play it is that the E minor pentatonic has the same notes in it as the G major pentatonic. So if you want to think about what things look like slid up at the third fret, that might help you as well. All right, so let's dive in and start breaking that song down. Going through the basic progressions of first the chorus and then the verse. You got just an E minor, B minor, C, A minor, then E minor, B minor, C, and A minor. That's the chorus. So. Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern, traveling twice, speed of sound, it's easy to get burned. Now with both the B minor and the A minor, if you want add a little interesting twist, you can turn them into B minor seventh just by lifting up your pinky. So too for the A minor, either in mid-strum or in place of the plain old A minor or the B minor, go for the minor seventh, just add a little bit more color. And then we get to when the shows are over, so G, F, or you can use F major seventh, A minor, we had to get back, E minor, G, and up the door, F, I had to be alone. And then we're going to have a little lick off of that. Alright, so pretty simple chord progression. Depending on which place you're in the song, that little lick that you get off the A minor is more or less complex. So for the first time around, when we've got when the shows were over, I had to get back home. When we opened up the door, I had to be alone. And here it's just a simple little riff. I think you just got your A minor, just hammer on from the E to the F, and then slide it all the way up to what's actually the 7th fret, but with the capo it seems like it's the 5th, and then get this note, which is the F sharp. And then we go back to, then we go back to, she helped me with my suitcase, stands before my eyes, driving me to the airport, to the friendly skies. Now when we get to the second time around with the G and the F, we're going to end up again on the A minor, and here we've got the chance for a more complex lick. So we've got going through security, held her for so long, finally looked at me in love, and she was gone. And you can do different things here. There are several instruments at work. You kind of have to choose which one you want to do, because there are different guitars and there's a keyboard going on. So one thing you can do is play with the A minor, pull off, go back to it, and then try to bring out the C, slide it up to the D, catch this note, the F sharp, or basically just whatever you want to focus on, be it the high notes or the low notes. Give yourself some freedom there just to maneuver around a little bit. And then finally, when we go through the final verse of the song, well, it's the chorus again, we get, after the lead, the second lead, we get just a song before I go, to whom it may concern, traveling twice, the speed of sound, seems easy to get, and instead of A minor, I think it ends on an E minor, so. Traveling twice the speed of sound, it's easy to get. And just end on the E minor. Alright, so there's the makeup of the verses and the chorus. Now let's start talking about the lead, because that's what makes this song so memorable. Short song, great solo. Let's break it down and look at it in parts. Now, as we work through the solo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it at basically no more than 80% of the speed that Stills plays at. It's very, very fast. If I play it much faster than that, I think it won't be possible for you really to tell what's going on, and I'm certainly going to screw up the notes. So I'm going to slow it down probably to about 80% or so of the actual pace, and at times slow it down even more and break it up into pieces to give you a sense of what's going on. Something I heard somebody say once I thought was really insightful is that think of notes as words, and words that make up sentences and words that make up paragraphs. And if you think about how you write, when you write, if you're a good writer, you mix up long sentences with short sentences. And so too, when you speak, you emphasize some words and other words don't get emphasized. So if you're trying to play this solo and you're not up for getting it absolutely perfect, note for note, exactly as it's recorded on the radio, if you don't have enough patience, such as I don't, you can still approximate it. One way to do that is get as many notes as you can and try to capture the emphasized notes, because those are the ones that really give the solo its flavor. Think about which ones you want to emphasize. Don't play them all with the same intensity, the same power, volume, just like you're not going to play them all with the same rhythm, the same note, the same pace, or spacing, or timing. You're going to want to shuffle it up and change it up. Just like when you're speaking. Speak more loudly, more softly, different length sentences, different words emphasized, different rhythm. If you sit in a lecture, remember your classroom days, sitting in a lecture, if a professor just speaks in a monotone voice, never changing the rhythm or the pace or the volume, you're asleep in 10 minutes. So if you want to use the same principles when you're constructing a guitar solo. So just breaking it down into parts and emphasizing slowly the different elements to try to bring out what makes each one distinct, each part. speed. But that last part that really ends it is really important to emphasize. So think about each different section as having notes that get emphasized. And even if you're not trying to play it note for note, if you don't have the patience, such as I don't, you're really trying to emphasize different notes from different parts. Playing a different rhythm, long phrases, short phrases, different emphasis.